This is take 2. I know that none of you know that. Maybe we'll put the other one in as a blooper. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
We were arguing and acting like children.
It was all his fault too. I'm kidding. It was everybody. Well, it was mostly Art and I. I mean, Grass and I.
But anyway, we're here to finally. There's no quote unquote migraines. We're here to do our roundtable on Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell.
Thank you.
I know her name. I was trying to be funny.
You don't know what they're talking about, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was just the daughter not thinking I was funny.
Anyways, AJ here.
Grossmother.
The daughter.
And Graz behind the camera.
To talk about Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
We read this last summer for Supersized Big Book Summer. We didn't all finish it on time. And for some reason, we've waited pretty much a year to talk about it. I don't know why.
Well, just like the book, just like the story, we wanted to drag it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it drags too. It sure does drag.
Especially when it's in Atlanta. I don't know how to say that for some reason.
Atlanta?
Yeah. Especially when it's in that part of the story, that just like drags on and
Oh, with
on
Aunt Pity and all them?
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, but that's how they describe their way of life. You had to know that.
Hated Aunt Pity Pat.
She was so annoying.
I mean, she was about as annoying as her name was. And Mickey's on the move.
He is. He
Yeah, now that's your fault
That is
because
my
you had to start moving.
Mm-hmm.
See, with that whole part of the story, she could lay the scene or make the scene or whatever. She did not need to go in as many details
Right.
as she
No.
did
That was something else.
for
Well,
pages.
I think the only part of the book, honestly, that the details really, really worked was when Scarlett was looking at the bodies, and the flies were buzzing in their eyes and stuff.
Mhm.
That's the part that they read out loud on The Outsiders, in the
Okay.
in the movie,
Mhm.
and when Ponyboy's reading it to Johnny in the church, and he reads that part, Johnny goes, "Man, that's gross," because they're talking about the flies crawling in and out of the dead guy's eyes. I think that was good for the detail, but you're right. There was way too much. You have to say what you said in the first take.
Oh, that maybe Stephen King read this book and got his thought that it would be good to drag things out and ramble on and on and on about things.
Mm.
He probably got influenced by this book to do that in his stories.
I could see that because we are seeing in a lot of different things that he steals
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ideas. Things that you think are all his, you stumble on an old Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode or an obscure Twilight Zone, or you read Gone with the Wind or Peyton Place, and you see like the formation or the foundation of one of his books or stories. It's interesting. But yeah, like I said, we read this last summer, and AJ was saying it was a mountain or an endeavor. I agree because I read this a chapter a day, which some of them are calling it the Graz method, some booktubers, and which I like. But if I hadn't been reading it a chapter a day, I probably would not have finished on time. I would have finished, but not on time.
I just barely finished.
She read 300 pages on the very last day to finish on time.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I mean, I don't think I could have read 300 pages of this in one day.
No, I certainly couldn't have.
I would have ripped my own eyes out.
Overall, I did like the story. It could have probably been about 500 pages less than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
This book has 1,024 pages in it.
It's got the same amount of chapters, but it's laid out different.
Yeah.
Because AJ and I read ours on the Kindle. Or actually, AJ listened to hers.
Yes.
I read it on the Kindle, and it was like 1,300 something or 1,400 something.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much as A Suitable Boy. I think it was in the 13s.
I started reading it on the Kindle. I would have been so much longer reading that thing. I had to switch to audio.
Right? Are you not going to talk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What you got?
This was, I've had my book since high school, which is in the Dark Ages, and I loved it so much.
Back when they walked uphill both ways in the
Yep.
snow.
So I've probably read it maybe 50 or 60 times because the
Yeesh.
story is so amazing. I don't know, the movie was even better with the way they dressed and acted and stuff. I just like that time of period. But yeah, it was my
When we could own
favorite
people.
story. That would have been great too. Especially now, I don't feel that great. But yeah, I mean,
Now we're getting canceled. We don't really believe in slavery.
no, we
We're being
don't.
funny.
Yeah.
Just help would be nice. It doesn't have to be.
It could be paid help.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to watch the movie as a group. We're going to force the Graz father to watch it with us.
Mm-hmm.
Probably watch it across 2 days because it's kind of long.
It has intermission. When we seen it in the big theater, it had intermission. It
Now
was really
then-
great.
At intermission, we will not go hungry.
Yep.
Food.
It's from the book.
I
Mm-hmm.
like food.
I'll never be hungry again. As God is my witness.
Anyway.
Little inside joke, because with the pauser here, we would never get through it if we didn't split it up into 2 days.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
And if you want to know more about that, ask Roz.
Ah.
He'll explain.
I don't think we've ever gotten through a movie in one day.
Before you came, we did.
We did almost, I think, because we always have to make sure it goes back before it costs, you know.
Oh, when you used to have to rent videos?
Yeah, remember them days?
Mhm.
We had to do it.
Oh, the Blockbuster.
But I love Scarlett. I thought that she had the perfect life, and the way she stepped up and helped everybody, even though she said she didn't want to, and the way she saved everybody. She had all this steel inside of her that she didn't know about until the times came up. And she was just amazing. So I do love her still.
I like Scarlett, too.
My favorite character was Melanie.
She was good too.
Melanie is probably one of the greatest literary characters ever put down on paper. I mean, I think a lot of Scarlett's steel came from Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Melanie's sickly and tiny, and she comes down the stairs with that sword
Mm-hmm.
to take on the Yankees with Scarlett. I mean, and that gave Scarlett strength to stand up to him. So I mean, there was a lot of extremely flawed characters in here.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett is just a spoiled little rat who can never settle for a good life. She wants the life that she's always envisioned with the guy who doesn't really want her, or actually only wants her attention.
Right.
And then the guy that actually, or the man that actually wants her, I mean, she can never be happy with. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, she loses the respect of her family and in the entire town of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she loses her wedded family because Rhett walks out. And through it all, Melanie knows exactly what's going on and doesn't care. She's like, I don't care. She stands by her, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
She is the true definition of a friend,
Mm-hmm.
even when somebody doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
The funniest part was that she thought she loved Ashley, but she didn't love the Ashley that was really Ashley. She loved the Ashley that she made him into. Because there's this one part where Ashley and Melanie are discussing some poem, and Scarlett's like, "This is so boring, gee." And that was what him and her were about. That's how they got along.
Right.
But she didn't get that. She only wanted him, I'm guessing, because she couldn't have him.
I didn't really like Ashley at all.
No, he was such a wimp.
Well, I wouldn't say he's a wimp. I mean, he made it through the war. He made it through being a prisoner of war. And then he... Trigger warning out there for some of you. Maybe. He made it through basically the starting of the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he went out and he did stuff for that. And then he fought... he never quit fighting the Yankees. So I wouldn't say he's a wimp.
Mm-hmm.
He was more intellectual than she really wanted.
Right.
She wanted a man's man, but when one wanted her, she didn't want him.
Right.
By the way, remember the other day we couldn't remember her second husband's name?
Yeah, poor guy.
Was it Frank Kennedy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor
Oh,
Frank.
hey.
Poor Frank.
The one that bought her the business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one that she stole from her sister.
Yeah, overnight.
Just because she wanted another husband, because people wouldn't take her seriously unless they thought there was a man behind it.
Right.
And she needed all that money to pay the taxes, and she knew he was the only person that liked her that would help her.
Well, in the end, I feel like she got hers,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, because who's going to stand by her now that, you know, Melanie's gone? You know? Nobody.
Yeah, she was never nice to her kids.
No.
She literally chased off the only man that would be willing to be around her, and the only person in the entire world that was okay being her friend dies. So, which by the way I hated.
Yeah.
That was the worst choice by an author that since boy.
Yeah.
but who was there the whole time? Scarlett was there the whole time.
She realized before it was over, which was nice. Melanie got to see that a little bit.
Yes.
It's one of those too little too late types of things. Yeah. Anyway, anybody? Dead air.
No, that was good. I loved it. I'll probably read it again.
I
On a
probably
day, you know.
won't.
Better you than me. I'm never gonna pick this up again. I'll never read Scarlet, and I'll watch the movie only because we read the book. This was taken as a whole. It's an interesting story, but I was always a little relieved when my chapter a day was done, because it was very boring, and it was. I can't remember if you said it in this take or the first one, but you could cut off probably a couple hundred pages, and it would be a better book, because there's too much.
Yeah,
It's just too much.
I would like to read more of the story behind Rhett.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, his how he became who he was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now on a nonfiction bent, I wouldn't mind reading a more factual telling of the Civil War to see if the Yankees really were this awful.
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously this is written very heavily with the Southern mindset, and they make the other side seem like, you know, cannibals and racists and rapists, you know, and looters and just common thugs. And I would like to see the truth of it from maybe a down the middle point of view.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Well, and I did like how, with the whole slavery part, that she hit on a lot of those families had slaves, yes, but they almost made them feel like they were part of their family.
Right, they were in
loved 'em.
charge.
They loved them,
Yeah.
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 In the history, it was proven that the slaves didn't want to be free. That it was
Some of them didn't, yeah.
some of them, yes. It was actually a white person that started the whole anti-slavery, let's free them
Mm-hmm.
thing. And if you look at history, not that I'm ever condoning slavery, but
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
it's just it is part of history that a lot of them felt like they were family and didn't want to.
Well, yeah, because now they've got to go find a job and a home of their own and take care of themselves. I mean, again, not condoning it,
Right.
just saying that that maybe people shouldn't still be paying for things today.
Right.
There, I'll take my stand and put my foot in it and wait for the pitchforks.
I mean, if somebody wants to, have me come and live in their house and do chores for them and feed me and give me a place to sleep and I don't have to worry about anything but what I'm supposed to do, I'll do it.
Right.
Right.
Now, it does obviously, if you're not paying attention, it does sound like we're advocating for slavery, and we're not.
Yeah, because that's only the good. That's only like the good families. There's the people who are whipped,
Mm-hmm.
killed,
Oh,
raped.
you read the book Beloved,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the other side of slavery.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't all peaches and cream, and the good house people. I'm not saying the word. There's a lot of that in this book. There is a lot of N-words
Yeah.
in this book. And I realized at the time it was the way people talked. And, we respect the history here. But I'm not going to say it on camera or, whatever.
Off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came out wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that.
But yeah. Forgot my point.
Oh, we were just saying that we don't condone slavery.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I mean, there's another side. It's not just all the ones that got to live in the house and walk around in their fancy clothes and
Pretty much run the house.
yeah, have the family actually respect their word. It wasn't all that. So and this book does actually show both sides of slavery. Because there's also that one bit that kind of stuck with me where that one older white lady tries to hold out in her plantation, and what was it, 7 or 8 runaway slaves go over there, and and then it's best left unsaid what happens. So I mean, it's not all peaches and cream, and we see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying I'd like to see both sides of the actual. Well, not like to, of the war.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be interesting to see if the Yankees really were that awful in a unbiased way.
Right.
Because obviously everybody's going to have their own opinion
Right.
based on, your geographic location.
Mm-hmm.
And us being not quite Yankee, because while we are in the north, our cats are, making sure that they are part of things.
Entertainment.
We're not really part of the Yankee North. That's for people like Farrah and Faceless, with their Yankee hats and their New York tags. We're more the start of the Northwest here in Michigan. At this time, at the time of Gone with the Wind, we were trappers and French and hanging out with Indians.
Just a little baby state.
Yeah, we weren't really much yet. We had a militia, but it was just in case. So
It was more to protect ourselves. Here.
yeah, it had not. We really had nothing to do with. But anyway, you got anything else?
I just think it's interesting about the war that, yeah, they ended slavery, but it didn't really get better for black people for like 100 years.
Right, and that's the boy. We're going to get into an area here that
Mm-hmm.
might stir some pots.
Sorry, I was just thinking.
No, it's okay because the Civil War or the American War, the war against our brothers or whatever you want to call it, wasn't about slavery at all. That was what the politicians were spouting, so that people would join their side. All it was they didn't want the South, which is basically I think one of the Carolinas, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida, whatever. They didn't want them splitting off and forming their own country. That's all it was, and they wanted to. The South wanted to, and that's what the fighting was about. You know.
So are you saying that the North really wouldn't have cared? So they brought the slavery into it to rile up the people in the North to get them involved?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because after it was all over, like you were saying about the history a little while ago, after it was all over, Northern people still owned slaves for quite a while. Slavery actually wasn't abolished at the end of the Civil War. I don't remember the exact year of the amendment, but it was later. Not a whole lot later, but you know, it was just more politician lies, and that's taken a stand in itself because that president is one of everybody's favorites. But he lied just like the rest of them do. You know,
Yeah.
he knew that he couldn't get a war going to keep the states as part of his union. Just based on that. So he made it a what is that called? Socio-political issue.
It was easier, yeah.
We don't really. I mean, you know, I'm sure that we're gonna get some hate mail on this.
Well, freedom of speech.
Right. And I don't really care anymore.
If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it.
Right.
You know, I mean, we this week taught me that the people who matter will rally around somebody who's having a really bad time. And fair weather friends will disappear in a childish manner.
Well, let's not forget about what we talked about, how we wish the ending would have ended at, I'm sorry, my dear, that is your misfortune, rather than going on to the other stuff. So that was an important point.
Right, it should. Oh, and that's another thing right there. When it comes to the movie, and my mom doesn't know this. She's not on the internet a whole lot, but this is a hill that I will die on. That's a saying. I'll die on this hill. That, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn is not the best line in this story. It's just because it was the first swear word in cinema, in American cinema at the time. That's the only reason that's so much of a big deal. But honestly, like 30 seconds before that is such a better line. Scarlett, but I love you. Rhett, well, dear, well, that's your misfortune. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't get much more savage than that. I mean, telling somebody that you don't care, okay. That happens constantly.
Right.
Everywhere. Telling somebody that, well, that's your mistake. That's way more. And it was like that in the book. Both of those lines were in the book, and I still say the misfortune line is better. And honestly, when he walked out, it should have ended.
Yeah.
Yes.
It kept going just a little bit, and I always feel like authors are afraid to end on that high note, or whatever it's called. That book fell off you and rolled like a boulder going down a mountain.
Wow.
Did you feel the house shake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Ah.
The foundation cracked like when I was throwing Suitable Boy around. But I think they're afraid to end on a high point, and I think that's what Stephen King's problem usually is he has usually a really good ending spot. Go ahead. I know what you're thinking about.
I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. I figured that, I'm talking about Stephen King and his endings and how he always goes a little bit too far. And I figured you would think about Desperation. Because it's perfect. It ends perfect. you know, and then he has to give you like this little 3 or 4 page epilogue where he has to add in the big coyote shaped cloud that every one of us mocked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Margaret Mitchell did it too. Did it first, actually. You know, I mean, okay, Melanie died, and then Rhett leaves. End it right there. We don't need that little epilogue talking about the next part. I don't really remember what it said after that, but I know that there was a bit, and I was like, why is this here?
Right.
We actually talked about that when we finished it. It was like, why is this? What is this? This doesn't need to be there. But that's all I have. I can do that better. And that's all I got to say about that.
There's no life is like a box of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what you're going to get.
Jenny.
I don't know. Alfred Hitchcock's pretty old and stuff, but he was his own person, and I don't know if anybody's ever watched it, but he never ends where he should. All of a sudden, his endings on every one of his shows is just over where he wanted it to be. There's no what happened next week. How are these people going to get by? It's perfect.
I like that a lot. And, you know, Rod Serling did that too.
Mm-hmm.
You'd get your twist,
Mm-hmm.
and it fit, and then it was done.
Then it was over.
There's a word for that. Succinct.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Aw.
Aw.
And I think that's why, I know we keep bringing up Stephen King, but I think that's why his short fiction is better. Because he doesn't have an opportunity to go on for an extra 200 pages when it should have ended way back here.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like The Shining.
The Shining does go on. Don't leave, Jen. Don't leave Pluto. The Shining is her favorite book, and she's one of our best friends on BookTube.
Well, we're not saying it's not a good book.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's not that it's not a good story. It's just it drags on and on. It could have been shorter.
The first time I read it, I thought it ended too soon. Believe it or not. But that was,
That's another hill I'm going to die on.
Yep.
That the Kubrick version is not an adaptation.
No, not the movie, because the movie was creepy but good.
Well, it's a good horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, off topic.
We already did a Shining video.
Just know that we're always going to talk about Stephen King because this is the GKBC.
And in case you're wondering, all the people that are newish here, because I've kind of grown a little. Well, I haven't, but it's kind of grown around us, this little community of really, really caring, lovely people. And I know that almost sounded sarcastic, but it's heartfelt. The GKBC stands for the Griswold, which is our last name. We're the Grozels, though. I'm Graz, but yeah, we're Griswolds, just like the movie, spelled a little different. But Griswold King Book Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's the GKBC, in case you're curious. Although some would have you believe that we are communists from Russia. In which case we wait for no one, comrade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Faceless does that. The GKBC straight out of Russia, and sometimes he adds other letters. It's
Oh,
funny.
that's
Yeah,
cute.
it's cute. The GKBC waits for no one.
Well, anyway, that's, I think, unless anybody has any final thoughts.
Nope.
No, that was good.
Okay, anybody out there that watches this train wreck, because it definitely was, this is what you get here, though. This is a perfect example of what you get when you watch one of our videos, especially when all 4 of us are involved. There's no editing. We just kind of talk, just like you're involved in the conversation. You're a passive participant. But if anybody watches this and wants to hear our thoughts or some thoughts on the movie when we watch it, say so. Let us know in a comment. It might take me a day or two, but I answer every comment. Every single one.
Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Well, I love engaging with people.